I'm Ruba Al-Sweel. I'm an artist and a writer. I think I started off as a writer first, publishing in magazines and books, in art editorials, and then sort of quickly hit the limit of what that could achieve and sort of accidentally fell into moving image and filmmaking. It all stems from obviously writing the script, which is a very familiar practice for me, and then quickly spun into directing the films, if need be also acting in them, and then also editing the films. I think that, film sort of merges both writing and art practice, and then also a little bit of curation as well, because it's all a practice of composing images and creating a narrative at a glance. So for this residency, I'm working on a long form film, a little more traditionally narrative than what I usually do. I'm creating a sort of docu-fiction of a full circle story of a phone that is originally stolen and then resold to the protagonist, and sort of speaks back to the protagonist about its journey through the new Silk Road in a way. It follows different states of revelation and horror, and I cast a bunch of kind of metafictional characters, so people who are just sort of playing themselves in dramatized events. There's a sort of materialist, a skeptical friend who doesn't believe the protagonist that, the phone is talking to her. There's a streamer evangelist who is calling for the destruction of the thinking machine. There's an artist from China that I'm working with who is cast as kind of Billy vlogger. Just a bunch of, interesting cast of characters. I think what's most interesting about this film is that I use what I called lens jacking, sort of a lens jacking technique using off cameras, so like body cameras, publicly available surveillance footage, found footage, footage captured by my phone and others, and then also mostly just recorded Zoom conversations. So I'm creating this intermedia world where everyone is constantly video conferencing and broadcasting and streaming. So I think in this film, I write on two registers. So there's one part that's more poetic and fictional and an attempt at animating the phone and giving it life and perspective. And then there's another that's more rooted in theory, and that's where I kind of bring in philosophers of technology who sort of opine on the ontologies of accelerated production, also just the infrastructure of technology and the way we've built architectures that sort of make way for hardware to even travel from one point to another. So I think what's most interesting about this project, which I had the most fun doing, was just attaching a bunch of body cameras and walking around busy areas, flea markets, electronic markets, secondhand shops. And the idea was that, I would represent the POV of the phone. So the film doesn't take any sort of moral stance, or at least doesn't make it the point. The idea was to work through some questions around our place in a wide and sophisticated network in the world. So where does hardware come from? Where does hardware end up? How it degenerates? And just our position in just this long value chain.